because I do too many different things still. And it's funny, I don't know why, but people find it hard to make a character like me the main character in a series. I'll always be the guy that might come in for a day or two, you know, and I might be there like the friend of the hero or something, or the bad guy, but not all there all the time, and that's fine. Sir?
How many auditions do you do typically in a year?
Oh, I still audition a lot, and it gets no easier.
But how many?
How many? Well, it comes and goes. I'd say once a week. Does that surprise you? Like, were you thinking more or less?
Oh, I was thinking a lot less. Yeah.
No, like, because I still audition for a lot and don't get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny when I talk to people. People always assume that, you know, one of my favorite ones is when people say, if I'm on a TV interview, someone will say, "Well, what made you play this character? Why did you decide?" Because I was offered. Because I got a job. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I think it's like all of us, really. We don't kind of go around going, "Yeah, I think I'll take that job at that organization." Like, you get a job and you go, "Oh, great." And as an actor, there's a lot of competition out there. And I audition a fair amount. Now the audition process has changed a bit in that you tend to self-tape more now. So, for instance, rather than go to a room in a building where the casting director and the director are sitting there, and I introduce myself to them and I go through the scene, what happens now is that I'm asked to self-tape. So I'll go into like a little recording studio, I'll lay down an interview, and it will be emailed to LA, to Fox or to Warner Brothers or the casting that's there. And they'll look at submissions from all over. So it's changed slightly. There's still like a TV series like Hannibal that I did, where I played a guest star. They still want people to come in because the producers want to see you in terms of the look of the show and see whether you fit or not. And for me, I'd much rather be in a room with people because I feel then they can ask me a question. You know, if you record yourself and you send it, you have one go, and if you've misread it and you've done it too big or too campy or whatever, you know, that's it. They can't say, "Oh, no, just calm it down," or whatever. Yes, sir?
Yeah, over the next year, I'm going to be designing a course on leaders in film, or watching films, and talking about leadership and leaders in film. Are there any roles that you've had that you might recommend I take a look at, scenes even, where you were either a really positive leader, really bad leader, or just totally unrealistic portrayal of a leader, the kind of thing that we watch a film and we should not learn from?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, we're all many of you folks here are fans of Supernatural, and I think that's an interesting idea because what is he? Is he a leader? He's the ultimate authority, but he's also caught up in human frailty too, and I find that a really interesting thing, and the fact that he values human contact and the idea of human family, because I feel that Dean, particularly Dean, is sort of like his nephew or something. So I find that interesting from a leadership point of view. What other leaders? It's funny because I do tend to play leaders. So I did Man of Steel, and I kind of go away. I'm sort of that leader, head of the Krypton Council, kind of like, go, banish. And then I did a movie called The Witch, which won Sundance last year, I think, which is a horror movie, and I have a tiny role in it. And believe it or not, it's exactly the same. But I'm in Puritan clothes, and our heroes are there standing in front of me, and I go, go away, go. And as I was doing it, I was thinking, this is exactly the same scene that I shot in Man of Steel. Except I'm in completely different clothes, and I've got sort of more of an old English accent in it. But so as I get older, my hair goes grayer, I think you're going to see me in lots more leader, banishment roles. Go! And then I'm going to be like walking around. So as I get older and frailer, I'm going to be doing more banishing, I think. Yes? Oh, okay, yeah. So,
do you have any stories about working on Lost Girl?
oh, Last Girl. Well, I
I know you did one episode.
yeah, and you know what? That was a funny situation because I think that I filled in for a friend of mine. I'm not sure. This is the way series work, right? Like you'll get a guest director who comes in and so you say you've got 6 days to shoot a show and a series, and the director comes in 6 days, and he's on to another show. He's going to go do an episode of some other show that's shooting in town, and there's a bunch of pickup shots to do. And I think what had happened was that they were late in the season, and they got to a day where there was about 4 days of pickup shots from about 3 different episodes. And my friend John Fawcett, who was a director, and who actually is the showrunner for Orphan Black, said, "We'll get Julian in for that. Julian, would you come in?" And I had no idea what I was doing, and I came in. I wasn't even directed by the director of that episode. I was directed by somebody filling in for me. So Lost Girl, which again has a huge following, I sort of had a funny little. It was one scene, and to be honest with you, it was so hurried I can hardly remember it. But it's in the bar, and I'm talking, and I'm giving a bit of exposition, and that was it. And then I thought, oh, okay. And anyway, then what happened was that my friend said, "Thanks so much for coming in." And then he said, "Would you come in and do something on Orphan Black as well?" And I came in and did this, I fill in for a character who's really just a minder, like he drives around and he looks after the character of Mrs. S. And he said, no, I think we're going to just develop your character. So he has, and my character's still going, and I'm actually going back to shoot Orphan Black next week. So but I can't tell you much about Lost Girl. I know a lot of the folks in Lost Girl. They're friends of mine personally. Rick Howland is a friend of mine, and Zoe Palmer. But I don't really know much about the show. I can't talk for it because I think I was in there for 3 hours doing that scene. Yeah. Anyone else that hasn't asked a question yet? Yes.
First of all, you are very interesting. I really had no idea what I was going to get into.
Well, thank you. But it's funny you should say that because when I do theatre, I'll have to get a critic going, "Julian Richings was very interesting." What does that mean? Interesting. Sexy is what I mean. Just kidding. Okay.
I was wondering if you had any interesting or weird audition stories. My friends are always telling me their audition stories are kind of weird or kind of horror stories.
I find auditions really hard. I honestly do. Like everyone's stressed. I will tell you one. I did a movie called Wrong Turn. Any of you guys seen Wrong Turn? Yeah, it's a real horror movie. Stan Winston, who is the special effects guru. I was 4 hours getting made up for it with this mask, and I had like a hunchback, and I had contact lenses and kind of built-up face. It was really grotesque, and then 2 hours to take it all off again. So it was really grueling. Anyway. He was trying to figure out how to get there are 3 brothers in this. And my brother's 7'3", 6'9", and then there's the runt of the family, me. Anyway, so I in the audition, there was hardly any script at all because I don't think I say anything in the whole film. And Stan Winston sat at the back of the auditorium, the room, and he would say things like, "Okay, so normally you have a reader, you have a reader gives you your lines, the opposite lines that you're playing." And he said, "I'm just going to get a reader to come and sit in front of the camera." He said, "Okay, attack the reader." Oh, and I'd sort of go, like really scary, like really. And so it was it was a very strange thing. And now you can only use one word. And so he was talking me through it, but I got the part, so I guess I did all right. But it was one of the weirdest auditions to sort of abuse this poor reader, and the poor reader's going, really didn't know what was going on. So that was strange, but there, I don't like auditions. And you know what? I honestly, I think going back to the question of do I direct, I think if I was directing, a lot of the time I would learn more about people from talking to them than getting them in a room and, you know, like 15 people and go, next, because I think you learn more in the back and forth with people. And some of the best films that I've been in and the best experiences that I've had with directors, I've talked to them and interviewed rather than gone in traditional audition situation. Yes, I'll go there and then there. Yeah.
Well, we're trolling you on IMDb because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Just saw you're in my favorite horror movie of all time, Q.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any? What was that movie like?
Well, it was very great. This is Q, and it was by Vincenzo Natali. It was groundbreaking at the time. Right now, if you look at it, it doesn't look much, but there's an opening sequence that I'm in, and I was asked if I would do the opening sequence, and I said, sure. And the reason I did it was that it was groundbreaking special effects. They had to set up the idea that we were in a futuristic society that was dangerous, and if you walked in the wrong direction, you could get cubed. Literally, there was strands of wire that were squares, and if you walked through them, it would slice you. And that was the big danger. And so they had to establish it right at the beginning of the movie, and then it gave you a sort of a sense of terror for the rest of the movie. So I worked on that opening sequence, I guess for about a week, and it was pre-CGI, right? I mean, it was like we had to do a body cast, and I had to walk into position, and then we had to stop, and then we had to put a cast of myself, and it was very, very complicated, but I really enjoyed doing it. And this comes back to that thing of being a technical actor. I actually like working with artisans, like craftspeople that come from different departments. I find it really interesting. People that are really geeky about, so, like when I was on Wrong Turn, I was 4 hours in the makeup chair. And rather than actor conversations are always like, did you see that performance? Yeah, it made me cry. You know, people go like that. And with special effects guys, did you see the way his fingernail exploded? And they had a little bit, and they're going into this detail about all these, and I'm going, wow. Like, an actor would never talk like that, but it's fascinating for me to hear people talk enthusiastically about their own minutiae, you know? So anyway,